We've spent the last 10 days in Mexico. We absolutely love it here. In no way do we recognize the dangerous Mexico that is always portrayed on the news. In fact, we feel so safe that today we are going on a road trip.
Just 2 hours outside Mexico City, you'll find a small town of just 3 million people. It's called Puebla, and we've been told it's one of Mexico's greatest cities. But let's start from the beginning, because as it turns out, scams do exist in this country.
Kom så, skatter. Uber is here. Buenos dias. Herhen.
So a few days earlier, I had booked a rental car, $126 for 2 days in a Jeep Renegade or similar. And that was including full insurance. Or at least I thought. Turns out there was no insurance included at all.
This is the total. It's not the most, no.
According to the Alamo clerks, the $22 collision protection didn't cover anything. In fact, we had to pay $219 for full insurance on top of the $126.
Så tager vi bare bussen. Det er ved at skide på.
Det er billigere at købe 2 billetter og flyve.
They're definitely scamming us.
Thanks to my mama's genes, I'm a very stubborn man, so of course I did not accept this. I mean, $345 for 2 days in this. I kept insisting that we had already paid for full insurance on Expedia where we booked the car.
Primary coverage up to $35,000.
Yeah, but another car.
No! I can read it here, black and white.
And after roughly 60 minutes of replicating my mom's stubbornness, they were suddenly able to offer full insurance for $93.
So right before you said 219, that was for...
It's on the error for my system.
Oh. It was an error in your system.
Yeah.
We were seriously considering ditching the whole thing since we also had to put down a $500 deposit.
Stoler vi på, at vi kan få penge tilbage.
We eventually agreed to pay the $93 insurance as we really wanted to see Puebla and the pyramids. I think the way this scam works is simply by pressuring gringo tourists into actually just paying. Because it's an uncomfortable situation and they know that you have a trip lined up. So you're super dependent on this car. Likely most people are just, whatever. I'll pay whatever it takes. Just give me the car, full insurance, and let me go. To Alamo's very weak defense, we did get a smoking hot upgrade.
What a morning.
God!
Oh, and also stick around to the end of this video where we share an important but scary lesson about renting a car in Mexico. I can tell you that right off the bat, driving in Mexico City is the craziest place I've ever been driving. You have to anticipate that everybody who is driving think that they are in a ghost town. I'm glad we got the full insurance.
Me too.
It's now 9 o'clock and we have hit perfect Mexico City rush hour. We've been driving without any stops for half an hour now and we're still in Mexico City. This city is so unfathomably big. I don't believe it. People are offering drinks by the toll booth. I mean, I love the hustling of Mexican people. 140? Fuck. Hola.
This right here is a good example of the perseverance of Mexican people. Imagine selling beverages on the highway. That's just crazy.
After an hour of driving with no heavy traffic, we were finally out of Mexico City. And that's when we started noticing a funny smell. In the distance, we could see what looked like a morning mist. Turns out, this is pollution from the city. The smell became so uncomfortable that we felt like we couldn't breathe. So it was suddenly easy to relate when the locals from Mexico City talk about this terrible smog they sometimes deal with.
I'm so happy I'm not driving. People are crazy.
Fair, okay.
Hola, amigo. It is around 250 pesos to drive from Mexico City to Puebla.
But I will say it's worth it though, because the trip up here is so beautiful.
Hasta luego. I'll be back. Welcome to Puebla, guys. Instead of 2 hours and 30 minutes, it took 4 hours.
The hotel room is not ready yet, but this looks pretty promising. This is so beautiful, this building.
Viva México! Viva Puebla!
Viva México!
With renewed energy, it was time to explore Puebla. But what is this place all about? Well, it turns out quite a lot. Here are 4 fun facts.
Lo que pido me niegues lo que pido.
Although Puebla is 10 times smaller than Mexico City, it's still the size of Lisbon.
Puebla is home to the world's smallest volcano.
There is a general consensus that Puebla is the birthplace of Mexican gastronomy.
The locals of Puebla are called Poblanos, and their accent is very distinct for one hilarious reason. It started out as a joke making fun of the French accent,
I would like to buy the burger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
but somehow the Poblanos stuck with the accent.
In other words, Puebla is an interesting city, and we had less than 24 hours to explore it.
Welcome to Puebla, guys. We are right now standing on the street of the 16th of September, and today is the 15th of September, and that means that the celebration of the Mexican Independence Day starts today. Immediately we understood why Puebla is referred to as the birthplace of Mexican gastronomy. Everywhere there were food stands. You know, the stands where you get the best Mexican food. I already have an idea that Puebla is a place you come to eat because this looks serious. In our previous videos, we already talked about how much Mexicans love sugar. And if you aren't convinced, how about the fact that they have an entire street of candy stores? It's even called Street of Sweets.
I really want to know the diabetes ratio in this country.
This tastes good.
I need a taco.
For foodies and candy lovers, this place really is like a theme park. So since we don't know what taco stand to pick here, we are gonna just go for the one where there are the most local people, because we have learned that that's how you get the best taco.
Son los mejores tacos de Puebla.
Claro. Oh my god, it's hot.
This is a very different taco than usually because it's always filled with stuffing.
God, you eat so fast. How are you? This is a samita, and this is basically a sesame bun stuffed with fried pork, potatoes, some salad, and some avocado. This is something you cannot visit Puebla without trying.
I like it. I still prefer my tacos.
With greasy, authentic Puebla carbs in our tummies, we continued our exploration. There's no doubt this is a beautiful city. It's so colorful, vibrant, and authentic. We found this cute antique store where we fell in love with this stone animal thingy. He wanted $200, but we thought that was a bit too steep. Thank God we didn't buy it.
So it turns out that we were close to falling for another scam because this one we bought the following day for 500 pesos. Actually, no, 200 pesos. And it's made of the same materials. We were close to paying 200 euros for something that is, you can buy it everywhere in Mexico. You make it!
Yes.
Can we trust that?
Really?
We just didn't know that. He knew that. I'm sure he knew that.
Generally, we were amazed by all these flea markets, but we weren't really able to find good deals. These are very appropriate for today when we are celebrating Mexico. Anyway, it was finally time to check into our hotel, where we immediately collapsed in our bed and woke up 3 hours later.
I'm so glad we drove to Puebla so I could sleep. What do you think about the hotel room?
I think it is cute, but it's way overpriced.
We're paying $140 for one night. Round 2, Puebla. More energy.
Yeah, man up. We might have been too ambitious with this Puebla road trip, but nonetheless we enjoyed our time here. I mean, how can you not when this food is everywhere?
You know Auntie Boudin?
I know him. What
You
does
know?
he say, Jon?
He says that Puebla is the city where good cooks are born.
Oh.
So he actually made a full documentary where he went here to understand the food culture, and apparently this is like the hub of just talent here in Mexico.
Really?
Lots of the chefs in New York City and the best fine dining restaurants around the world are from Puebla.
Is this your way of saying that you want food?
Caballeros!
You're such a big pussy. Don't you belong over here? We are legally allowed into the square.
Yeah. Felt like entering the airport. Puebla is just like an endless stream of flea markets.
Shouldn't we celebrate?
Yeah. I'm completely fascinated by these like heavy stone thing.
It's for salt. This market is super cute and it's really nice to walk here, but it is incredibly overpriced.
Generally, I find that you don't get much of bargains when you go to these markets here in Mexico. I mean, so far, they're just charging gringo prices to a level where even when you negotiate...
Even a gringo doesn't want to buy it.
But even when you negotiate, it's still like, yeah, you know, too high. I think Puebla is insanely cute. I mean, this is really one of the most charming cities we probably ever visited. But it doesn't have the same craziness that we like here in Mexico. Like when you compare to Mexico City, I know it's a stupid comparison, but I think that's what I fall in love with here in Mexico. It's the craziness of the people here. Puebla is a little bit too polished, and it's also the safest city in Mexico.
But if you want to discover the history of Mexico, I think that Puebla is one of the best places to do so, because this is an incredible historical place. So, did you know that whenever you eat an al pastor here in Mexico, you are actually eating an Arabic invention? This is actually a Lebanese dish that has evolved into what we know today as the al pastor.
Mashallah, the queue is endless
long.
to enter the area. We already entered and then left. Oh my goodness. I think you're taller than the average. That went surprisingly fast. But now we're here, we have no idea what we're doing here. There should be shows to please us. The music is so insanely loud.
Independence Day in Mexico is a huge event, so we were spoiled with Mexican folklore that seemed to go on for hours. And as wonderful it was to get a taste of true Mexico, it seemed unlikely that we would stick around for another 3 hours for the grand finale. Alamo had simply robbed us of too much energy.
No, I like Puebla. I do like it, but there is something that doesn't connect with me here. Maybe we just had a bad start to the day.
I actually think that it's very difficult to see what Puebla is for the people and for the festival and the festivities going on. I feel like we don't really get to explore Puebla, the real Puebla. I think we made a mistake by coming in this holiday to Puebla.
So this video is an unfair representation of Puebla as a city. Muy bien.
Muchas gracias, bonita noche.
Viva México.
Viva México.
Get her. We missed the fireworks. Viva Mexico. Guys, as promised, here's a little scary lesson for any one of you looking to rent a car in Mexico City, because one of our followers on Instagram shared this story after we filmed this video. If I read this story before renting a car, we probably wouldn't have rented a car, but it's not to scare anyone, it's just be aware, because what she writes here is that if they see La Rubia gringos in the front seat, they will pull you over for not having your lights on, and then for flashing your car lights, then for wasting his time, and then they'll take your license and demand a 6,000 peso bribe. That's what happened to us. No joke, only 10 minutes after renting the car. And they even wanted to take us to an ATM to take out more money because we only had $200 on us. That's crazy. But it also was the only time they got shook down in living in Mexico 6 years plus. So yeah, have tinted windows like we had. I think that's why we might have been lucky. Or were we?
Get Puebla.